Hi everyone, it's me doing my vlog. I haven't done one in so long, and as if you ever watch these, which I don't have many subscribers, but people still may watch them that aren't subscribed, which is pretty cool. Thank you. Um, you see that I have just a range of topics I talk about, and it's kind of like a good therapy for me to get things off my chest. And because I'm a psychic medium, I have a lot of weird experiences. I have had experiences with alien abduction. I have binge eating disorder because I'm so emotional, which goes along with being a psychic. You're really, very sensitive with your emotions, so you pick things up with people and situations. And I feel like I was losing my mind last week. I wanted to talk about my own personal Mandela effects. I've noticed two in the last week of how my memory of something or my reality is completely different from the actual what everyone else's reality is. So I don't know if it's the actual reality or I'm correct and they just don't remember. And I can't prove either thing, which really stinks. So the first thing is I work part-time once in a while at this hospital. They have three locations in the Detroit area. I'm a registered nurse and minister. So I do a lot of side jobs or I get offered a lot of like contract work. And I also have a full time job during the day. So I can't always work all the time at the side jobs, but it helps with my income. So I worked about 2 weeks ago at a different location than I normally work for this company. And there are a few nurses that go from one location to one of the other two as they need help. And I kind of agreed when I signed up that I would do that. If they had an opening and I was available, that I would do that. So I went to this other location and I didn't know anyone that worked there because I hadn't worked with them at the main location I work at, and everyone was like very friendly and very nice and showing me where supplies were, and if you need anything let me know. And I had a really good night there. I worked the night shift, and I worked with three other nurses, and two of the nurses were males and one was a female. So there were altogether was four nurses and a nurse manager who was there to help as well. And it seemed like an okay night and everything was fine, and I didn't really interact a lot with the other nurses, but here and there we were like, hey, do you need any help, how you doing, kind of thing. So one of these nurses was a, I would say, about 5'10" male African man. He had that very deep African accent, like a Nigerian possibly. And his name tag, I looked at it because every time I don't know someone I'm working with, I look at their name tag and I try to learn their name. And it said David and then a African last name that I don't even know how to pronounce it. And I said, how are you doing? Do you need any help or something like that when I was kind of done with a lot of my work? And he said, oh, I have to fill out this incident report. This thing happened with this patient. I don't want to tell you anything particulars about that for patient confidentiality reasons. And I'm like, oh, that's horrible. Is it okay if I learn how to do an incident report because I haven't had to do one? And he's like, yeah, it's all on the computer. Let me show you. It's like a form you have to find on the computer. I'm like, okay, cool. Because some places you have to just tell your supervisor, they do some kind of report. Some places you fill out a paper form and give it to someone. So this is a difference. I'm like, okay. So I actually sat next to this man, this nurse, and watched him. He found this form. There was a form online to do if you had an incident like yourself as the nurse, like say you hurt yourself at work or something happened, or one for the patient. So he finds the form and we're talking, and I said, wow, your English is really good. And he said, thank you. And, we just were small talking while he did this form. It seemed to be very self explanatory once he found the form. And we talked for like 10 minutes while he did this. And then I saw him throughout the night with the other people that I worked with. And everything was fine. And no, issues came up after that. And, I left. And about a week and a half later, I was at my regular hospital that I worked at. And he was there. I said, hey, how are you? How have you been? And he's like, do I know you? Have we worked together before? I said, yeah, I worked with you at this other location. I won't say the city on here. And he was like, I have not worked there in a year. And I'm like, no, do you have a twin brother or something? Because it was you. And I'm like, how many Davids from Africa work for this company? And I'm like, you're joking, right? You really don't remember me? And he's like, seriously, I've never worked with you. I don't know who you are. And I was like, okay, how can I possibly remember him and he doesn't remember me? And this was only like a week and a half ago at the most that I worked together with him on this day. And so later on in the shift at my regular facility, I was like, were you just joking that you didn't remember me? Were you just, pretending that you didn't know me, like playing it was it your sense of humor and I'm just not getting it? And he was like, what are you talking about? He thought I was completely batshit crazy. He did not understand what I was trying to ask him. He thought I was just like a very strange person. And I was like, okay, well, I'll let it go. But I just kept nagging at me and bugging me. And I'm like, how do you remember someone and tell them, like, I worked with you on this day, doing this shift at this location, and remember every detail of your interaction with them, and they don't know who you are? So I watched this video. I fell down the Mandela effect rabbit hole again when I am doing work at home or doing things around the house. I'll listen with my headphones on my phone to YouTube videos. And this video said that it is possible for you to have be in two places at once if you're in a different dimension. And the example they gave was if you are trying to get to the airport and you are can't decide, should I get an Uber or should I ask a taxi to come pick me up? In one reality, you may have gotten in the taxi, and in one reality, you may have gotten in the cab. And then people may remember you at the airport getting out of a cab, and other people in a different dimension or reality that's in the same timeline as us remember you getting out of the Uber. And maybe the Uber driver remembers you, but no one else does because you're in his reality. And it was just like tripping me out. And people were saying, like, hey, I saw you at this party last week. How have you been doing? And the person will say, I never went to that party. I couldn't go because I had to work or whatever. And this keeps happening to people. And so I haven't been able to let it go. It was really, really bothering me. And then another thing happened just on Saturday night. So my sister and I have the same dad but different moms. So she has other family like cousins and aunts on her mom's side that aren't really related to me. And I mean, my whole life I've interacted with that side of her family, at family events. We all know each other. It's great. There's no issue or anything. But I ran into her cousin, who I hadn't seen in a long time, and his wife. And I had remembered when I saw them that they had a little baby girl a few years ago when I had seen them last at a holiday party, and they didn't have the baby with them. And I said, how is your little girl? And they looked at me like I was freaking insane. And they were like, we don't have any kids. And they were both looked at each other and looked at me, and they were like trying not to act awkward or make me uncomfortable. But of course, the situation was uncomfortable. So I quickly said, oh, I must have been confused. I was not confused. I held this baby. It was a girl. It was at a holiday party, maybe about, I would say, between 5 and 10 years ago, but I don't know the Christmas it was. And it was their aunt, who's my dad's ex-wife's house. And we were all talking and laughing, and it was all exciting because they had this baby. And I remember I actually held this baby, and I was like so happy for them because they had been newly married for like less than 2 years, and they had the baby. They were all excited. And now I see them, and they're like, we never had any children. We don't have any children. So I'm wondering now, is on one timeline, did they decide to have this child? And that was one timeline, and then I was shifted into this other timeline where they have no idea about that happening, and this is a whole different, timeline or Mandela effect where my reality and my memory was on a different timeline, and now I'm on this new timeline where they have no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm wondering if this has happened to a lot of people. I'm super I'm self-conscious because I kind of think I'm losing my mind that I remember these specific details of these days and these things that happen in these interactions with these people, and they can't remember. And or I just look like I'm making up stuff, but I know I'm not. I don't think I'm crazy, but I mean, being a psychic medium, I have a lot of visitations. I have a lot of like different information downloaded to me. I have a lot of psychic dreams. I have a lot of nightmares. And I'm wondering if like I've just dreamed some of this and I think it's a memory. It's getting to be really weird. So I'm just wondering if anyone else has these things happen. If you do, can you comment? Can more people talk about it so I know I'm not alone? That would be fantastic. I'm glad I found at least that one video where they were, kind of saying you could possibly choose one path or choose another path, and maybe in a different dimension you choose the path you didn't choose in this dimension. That's helpful. So, thank you so much for listening to me ramble. I appreciate all the support or people that watch these, and let's try to unravel these mysteries together if we can. Thanks.